Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and this is the Dr. Octopus CTP review. We've got a CTP of energy on Auto Octavius. He's schlapping tons of different content, and I want to showcase this for you guys because he does really, really well with the CTP of energy. It really synergizes and covers up some of his weaknesses, which most villains have, lacking ignore or dodge, and he's just still so proc friendly that it's just really, really nice. So we're actually going to stall here just a little bit so I can line up my third skill with my sixth skill. We are taking a little bit of damage, but that's okay. We're going to heal up here, and then we're just going to pop off for like 5-6 bars of damage. It's gorgeous. We're going to push us right into the next cage, but we're doing really, really well. Less than 45 seconds in, we can dodge both cages with both co-op skills. He does his third there nicely, and then we are into our next proc. So yeah, we're flying right now, which is really, really nice, and he does really well. We're going to hold off on using our sixth skill here since we're so close to the 31 bar mark, so that's something to keep in mind. We might get stunned by that purple thing. Nope. Okay, so this is really good. A minute 10 is one of my best clears for this first phase. What I want to tell you specifically for Dr. Octopus and Knull is that Knull takes so long to get out of his chair that you should always save your sixth skill for this moment here, because almost 100% of the time your third skill will be off cooldown, that 10-second cooldown that we talked about in other videos for Dr. Octopus, where you have to worry about that 200% damage proc because it's on a 10-second cooldown, but your CTP of energy is only on a 7-second cooldown if you're using a proc and not like a rage or something like that. So you don't have to worry about that because it takes Knull so long to get out of the cage, right? It takes him like 7 seconds. So, you know, unless you really are really intentionally trying to miss it, you won't. Now here you want to keep Knull at the top of the arena because during phase transitions, he will take extra damage. So here we pop off with a ton of damage. Really, really nice. There we missed our third skill because we weren't close enough to Knull. So we're actually just going to proc on 3 for just the 200% damage proc. And that's kind of like a nice bonus for Dr. Octopus specifically, where if you press 5 and 4 by accident, like even if you make a mistake with his rotation and you proc on 5 and 4 with your obelisk or your CTP or whatever, that's okay, because then you can just wait for your next rotation and just press 3 if you want and eat up that 200% proc, or you don't even have to wait. You can just press it right after. So you could basically get the effects of 2 procs in one. Now, what you do need to be aware of here is that the third skill proc is needed for the last phase with Thor. So you do have to kind of babysit Dr. Octopus's third skill and make sure that it doesn't run out, because what ends up happening otherwise is you're going to get into the next phase and you're not going to have quite enough damage. So here we're procking without it. I don't really have a good solution because now I know that it's going to be active for the next rotation. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to proc on 5 and 4. It's not going to do as much damage. We are going to lose some time, but this is going to guarantee that for the next phase we have exactly what we need. So there we go. We lost some time. We probably lost about 10 seconds, but now it guarantees that the next phase is going to flow smoothly and basically perfectly, because we're just going to pop off this rotation that we always do. We're going to get the full amount of damage here. If you're in trouble, you can press the co-op skill for a few seconds of, you know, perma invincibility, and then you can escape and exit out that way. I don't know if we procced. We didn't proc our... We did proc our obelisk by accident. That's why it procced again now, but we hadn't procced our uniform, so that's fine. We're going to wait an extra second here. This is not the fastest run that I was able to do with him, but this is an excellent run because it shows you how to manage the uniform. So I'm really happy with that run. Very smooth. This is my third run attempting this. My first 2 runs, I actually just made mistakes myself. But I do think that, like Electro, he's very proc-friendly and also very consistent. But let's see where else he shines. Now, as for Mephisto, stage 25 to 29 is notoriously difficult because as a blast type, needing to use combat types is like kryptonite, right? It's really, really difficult. And although we have a lot of really good supports now with, you know, Valkyrie, Sif, Crescent, Taskmaster, etc., we don't have that many good damage dealers outside of Shang-Chi and Cull Obsidian, but Dr. Octopus represents another really, really good option. And here we're just using a CTP of energy, so it's much more efficient. So we're going to do 3 normal rotations. because of the rage meter, and then we're going to wait and pop off our last one with the awakening skill, because this should actually end up being enough damage, yes, to push him into his next phase. So remember, versus Mephisto, and especially with the synergy that Dr. Octopus provides when you wait, it's not always better to push it and proc one rotation every 7 seconds. Sometimes it is for certain characters, but specifically for Dr. Octopus, it can be better to wait because you don't build up the rage meter as much, and you'll still get to take advantage of his insane effects with that third skill proc. So we're doing it again basically here. We waited. We could have popped earlier, but you know, it's better to go, in my opinion, versus Mephisto, it's better to pop your proc every 10 seconds and get that buff than to not. Now there we were actually just, I believe we were like 1 second early, so we didn't get it there, but we'll get it here. We are in this case going to pop our proc early just because we can see the rage meter building, and I don't want it to interrupt us midway through the transcended skill. So we're in a bit of an unfortunate situation where he's behind the little sigil there from Doctor Strange, but this puts us in a great position to proc our uniform proc with our CTP proc, and basically, oh, he's so close, push him to the next phase. There we go. Okay, so we're in the next phase. Now, here in the last phase is where there actually are a couple of problems for Dr. Octopus, namely that Mephisto moves around, and the 5th skill has pretty bad targeting, or not, AoE. The AoE on the 5th skill is not that good. The AoE on the 6th skill is also not that good. So what you'll see is that sometimes he moves around and your damage just stops. You'll see it later on when the sigils are out, and I can show you a really good example of it. But for now, we're still doing amazing damage. Now, when I say that he moves around and so it's not that good for Dr. Octopus is still really good for this fight. He's still really, really good. It's just that, you know, he's not perfect. And very few characters are, so it's nothing against Dr. Octopus specifically. It's just sort of the situation. We're doing our best here to dodge this, but we can actually just eat this last bit of damage to pop off here. We want to push him to his next phase, but he's actually going to be enraged. So instead, I'll show you what I mean. So you can actually just ignore these sigils and pop off for more damage. But what you'll see is that when he moves too far away, actually, he was kind of inside the circle the whole time. That was actually kind of cool. Interesting. But yeah, the sigil situation is so perfect for Dr. Octopus because it delays your procs. And by delaying your procs, it's just lining up your uniform proc even better for you. So there, I was able to pop off the uniform proc midway through collecting the sigils, and then I could collect the rest of them, freeze him, and then that would be roughly 10 seconds, which would allow me to line up my next proc. So this was a really good run. It could have been faster if I played a bit more aggressively, but look at this. I'm on stage 29, which is the highest combat stage, and we finished that with more than 90 seconds left. What does that mean? That means that you can use this same team up and have less Pierce and be able to do it, right? I have 22% Pierce. You could probably do this with 15% Pierce, or maybe you could do it with 19% Pierce, but not using a CTP, using an Obelisk. Or you could do it with the same amount of Pierce and not have Sif at all on the team and just have a regular 30% leadership, like, I don't know, I can't think of a leadership at the moment, but you sort of get what I'm saying, right? So there's a lot of room here for him, which is excellent. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to punch up to stage 40, which is the next stage that he's available for, without maybe a beefier build, like a mighty CTP of Destruction or something like that, some sort of, you know, buff there with the Obelisk. But the one thing that I still think he's going to struggle with, at least until we get a hold of his artifact and I can test that, because the artifact specifically deals more damage to alien and creature types, and we know that Ultron Infinity is a creature type, is the human stage. Now, I'm not going to show you guys the Shang-Chi gameplay, but Shang-Chi can clear this stage with about 2 minutes left, or almost 2 minutes left, and he uses a similar team up with a very good lead and Taskmaster support. In this case here, for Dr. Octopus, he still doesn't do quite enough damage. So, yeah, I'm not going to show you the full fight, but I'll show you a few rotations, and you'll basically get the point when you see it. And maybe we can also get a glimpse at that movement where the boss moves out of the Awakening skill and the damage kind of falls off. I mean, that's not bad. We're going to have to wait here for him to dash through, because, again, the trajectory of Dr. Octopus's 5th skill makes dodging it kind of easy. The other problem is that Dr. Octopus doesn't have fast skills that he can use to move, so in this situation I can't really do anything. I can switch to another character and interrupt him, but otherwise I just sort of have to let him optimize, right? Dr. Octopus doesn't have long iframes. He doesn't have abilities that allow him to skip through things. He doesn't have a lot of movement skills. So, for example, like this skill for Electro, right? Amazing skill. We love that skill. That skill, and so like the iframe here on this one, those allow him to sort of play with Ultron's optimization and the Infinity Stones that he uses. I haven't played against Ultron in so long, so you can see I'm having a hard time saying optimization because it literally has no other place in the game except this one fight. So yeah, we're a minute into the fight. He's got about, he could, he could actually probably do this. I wanted to, maybe I was just trying too hard to make it seem like, okay, so there's a really good example of the targeting. So if you didn't catch that, you got to go back and watch it in slow-mo. But basically, I popped the 5th skill, and he iframed over there. And basically, with Dr. Octopus, in his case, the targeting just doesn't happen. Wow, he optimized again? The targeting just doesn't follow the boss. So you have a situation where if you start the targeting on the 5th skill, it sort of sets it there. And then if the boss moves later, you're sort of stuck, accepting where it's gone and sort of not being able to change that. What happened? Did I not knock him out of optimization? I did, but he time froze you. Okay, I think this sort of perfectly illustrates why I wouldn't suggest Dr. Octopus specifically for this. In this case, like I said, and what I showcased against Mephisto would lead me to believe, Dr. Octopus is a cheaper option for you to climb in Mephisto if you're stuck on those stages versus someone like Shang-Chi. Because Shang-Chi needs a CTP of Rage and he needs a much more difficult rotation, so it's a lot more work for you to master that. On the flip side, I would much rather you choose and build up Shang-Chi for this stage of Ultron from 15 to 19 as a human because he's just much better. And I use him all the time, and this team just crushes it. You can swap out Wave for Taskmaster, whatever. This team just crushes it. He super duper easy. So yeah, he's not amazing for everything, but I do think that he's an excellent addition to the roster of MFF. And like I said, I think he offers a really good budget option versus some combat types that we've come to know and love for PvE content like Cull Obsidian and Shang-Chi. He does not qualify for much of squad battle, so keep that in mind, but he's okay for the earlier stages or the earlier brackets where you just need combat types. And then the one thing I can't show you, but that an energy CTP is not that good for specifically, is Alliance battle, where, again, he's not going to compete with Kingpin, I think, or like a Brilliant Judgment Apocalypse, but I do think he's a nice budget option for the days when you are using, or you do need to use combat super villains, but I would have to test him with a Rage for that, which doesn't have, like, I don't have that on the build at the moment, but he does have the guaranteed crit rate, so it might be worth a shot that we'll test out later in the week. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of Dr. Octopus. Here's just a quick little run through of his build because I didn't talk about it for the whole video because we were doing gameplay. He's got 1 Odin's Blessing, so the build could definitely use more. He's got a stage 11 overdrive set, no artifact, a very nice 200 proc CTP of energy. I prioritized high ignore dodge because that's what he needs because he has none. And then the uniform is mythic as usual. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.